Ever noticed how certain foods seem to instantly lift your spirits, while others leave you feeling foggy and drained? I spent a year transforming my diet and documenting exactly how different foods affected my mental state. What I discovered changed not just my plate, but my entire approach to emotional wellness. Have you ever wondered why you reach for that chocolate bar when you're feeling down, or why you feel so energized after a nutrient-rich breakfast? The connection between what we eat and how we feel isn't just anecdotal, it's biochemical. And I learned this the hard way. 3 years ago, I found myself in a cycle of mood swings, afternoon energy crashes, and persistent brain fog. Despite getting enough sleep and exercising regularly, something was off. Little did I know that the answer was right on my plate. My food mood journey begins. It started with a particularly rough week. I had been working late, surviving on takeout and energy drinks, when I noticed my anxiety level skyrocketing. Simple tasks became overwhelming. Conversations felt exhausting. The morning after a particularly heavy pasta dinner with sugary dessert, I woke up feeling like I was thinking through molasses. That was my breaking point. I called my friend Sarah, a nutritional psychiatrist, who explained something that would forever change my relationship with food. Your brain is the most metabolically active organ in your body. Everything you eat directly impacts how it functions. She suggested I start a food mood journal, tracking not just what I ate, but how I felt in the hours afterward. The patterns that emerged after just 2 weeks were impossible to ignore. The science behind food and feelings. What I was experiencing had solid science behind it. Our brains require a steady supply of nutrients to manufacture neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that regulate our mood, motivation, focus, and emotions. Serotonin, often called a happiness hormone, is largely produced in our gut. About 95% of this mood-regulating neurotransmitter is made there, which is why researchers often refer to gut as our second brain. The foods we eat directly impact the gut microbiome that helps produce these essential mood chemicals. Dopamine, another feel-good neurotransmitter that drives motivation and pleasure, relies heavily on protein-rich foods that contain an amino acid called tyrosine. Without adequate protein in our diet, dopamine production can suffer, and with it, our sense of drive and enjoyment. The culprits behind my mood swings. Through careful tracking, I identified several dietary patterns that were sabotaging my mental well-being. The sugar roller coaster. The temporary high from my afternoon sugary snacks inevitably led to crashes that left me irritable and foggy. The rapid spike and drop in blood sugar was creating mood swings that felt almost bipolar. The inflammation connection. Highly processed foods, especially those with industrial seed oils, refined flours, and artificial additives, were triggering inflammatory responses. What I didn't realize was that inflammation doesn't just affect our bodies. It affects our brains too, potentially contributing to depression and anxiety. Dehydration masquerading as hunger. Many times when I thought I needed a snack, what I actually needed was water. Even mild dehydration was affecting my concentration and energy levels. Caffeine's double edge. While my morning coffee gave me a necessary boost, the additional energy drinks were disrupting my sleep quality, creating a vicious cycle where I needed more stimulants just to function. The foods that changed my mind, literally. As I began restructuring my diet, certain foods emerged as true mood boosters. Fatty fish. Incorporating salmon and sardines twice weekly made a noticeable difference in my overall mental clarity. The omega-3 fatty acids in these fish, particularly EPA and DHA, help reduce inflammation in the brain and support cell membrane health, essential for optimal neural communication. One Wednesday, after having salmon for dinner the night before, I tackled a complex work project with an ease that had been missing for months. My thoughts flowed clearly, and the brain fog that had become my normal state had lifted. Fermented foods. Adding kimchi, sauerkraut, and plain yogurt to my diet introduced beneficial bacteria that improved my gut health. Within 3 weeks, I noticed more stable energy levels throughout the day and fewer digestive issues. Colorful vegetables. Increasing my intake of deeply colored vegetables, purple cabbage, bright orange sweet potatoes, dark leafy greens, provided antioxidants that combat oxidative stress in the brain. These phytonutrients act as little cellular bodyguards, protecting brain cells from damage. Nuts and seeds. A handful of walnuts or pumpkin seeds became my go-to snack, providing magnesium, zinc, and healthy fats that support neurotransmitter function. The steady energy they provided was nothing like the roller coaster of my previous sugary snacks. Dark chocolate. In moderation, 85% dark chocolate became a therapeutic treat. The flavonols in dark chocolate increase blood flow to the brain, while the small amount of caffeine provides a gentle lift without the crash. Plus, it triggers a small dopamine release, giving genuine pleasure without the downsides of processed treats. The unexpected benefits. 6 months into my food mood experiment, the benefits extended far beyond my mental state. My sleep deepened dramatically. Without the inflammatory foods and with better neurotransmitter balance, I fell asleep more easily and woke feeling genuinely refreshed. My skin cleared. The constant low-grade inflammation that manifested as dull, occasionally broken-out skin gave way to clarity I hadn't seen since my teens. My emotional resilience increased. Minor setbacks that would have previously derailed my day became manageable bumps in the road. I wasn't just reacting differently. My baseline emotional state had shifted. The challenging truth about our modern diet. What frustrated me most as I learned more was how our modern food environment is almost perfectly designed to disrupt our brain chemistry. Ultra-processed foods now make up nearly 60% of the average American diet, and many of these products are engineered to hit the reward centers in our brains without providing the nutrients those same brains need to function properly. Food manufacturers have spent billions on research to create hyper-palatable combinations of salt, sugar, and fat that override our natural satiety signals. This isn't just about willpower. It's about biology being hijacked. The rapid increase in anxiety and depression over recent decades parallels our shifting diet patterns. While correlation doesn't prove causation, emerging research suggests that dietary patterns may be a significant and underappreciated contributor to the mental health crisis. From knowledge to practice, my daily food mood protocol. After a year of experimentation, I developed a personal protocol that keeps my mood stable and energy high. Morning. I start with protein and healthy fats, usually eggs with avocado and vegetables. This provides a steady glucose release throughout the morning without the spike and crash of cereal or pastries. Midday. Lunch centers around colorful vegetables, quality protein, and a fermented food component. A typical plate includes a salmon fillet with roasted sweet potatoes and a side of kimchi. Afternoon. Instead of reaching for sugar when the 3 p.m. slump hits, I have a small handful of nuts and seeds with a piece of fruit, balancing the fruit's natural sugars with stabilizing fats and proteins. Evening. Dinner focuses on nutrient density with an emphasis on foods that support sleep. Magnesium-rich leafy greens, turkey, with its sleep-promoting tryptophan, and complex carbohydrates that help transport tryptophan across the blood-brain barrier. Hydration. Throughout the day, I drink water with a pinch of mineral-rich salt to ensure proper electrolyte balance, crucial for neural function. The 80-20 approach to sustainable change. The most important lesson I learned wasn't about perfection, but consistency. I follow my protocol about 80% of the time, allowing for flexibility during social occasions or special events. This approach has made the changes sustainable without triggering an unhealthy obsession with clean eating. Life still happens. There are still stressful days, occasional sleepless nights, and times when convenience trumps optimization. But now, instead of adding fuel to these challenging periods with inflammatory foods that worsen my mental state, I use nutrition as a tool to support resilience. Your turn. Small steps to better moods through food. If you're experiencing mood swings, energy crashes, brain fog, or persistent low mood, consider how your diet might be contributing. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Start with these simple steps. Begin a food mood journal for just 1 week, noting how you feel 1 to 2 hours after each meal. Identify one processed food that leaves you feeling depleted and find a whole food alternative. Add 1 serving of fatty fish to your weekly meal plan. Experiment with a small serving of fermented foods daily. Stay hydrated. Aim for half your body weight in ounces of water daily. Remember, this isn't about perfection or restriction. It's about discovering how food can be one of your most powerful tools for mental well-being. The connection between food and mood isn't just about feeling good. It's about creating the biochemical environment that allows you to think clearly, relate warmly, and live fully. When we nourish our bodies with the building blocks they need, we're not just caring for our physical health. We're laying the foundation for emotional and mental resilience. If you've noticed connections between what you eat and how you feel, click subscribe to follow my ongoing food mood journey. And I'd love to hear about your experiences. Comment below one food that noticeably impacts your mood, whether positively or negatively. Together, we can build a community of people taking control of their mental health through the power of nutrition.